Hello, everyone. It's Royce here, and I want to thank you all for joining me on my Royce in the House YouTube show. I'm really, and I want to introduce my co-host here, Caitlin Stoddard. It's
Ooh,
yeah,
hi.
Kate is a huge Alice Cooper fan. You used to go to his live podcasts all the time, didn't you, Kate?
His radio show has been off air since September. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, yeah, that's
Oh
right.
yeah. It's gonna be some time. It's gonna take some time though.
Okay, well, the reason I've been looking forward to this, hold on. We're being joined by the one and only Michael Nolan, the bottom line.
Michael.
A, a fellow Alice Cooper fan, I
How
might
you
add.
doing, Caitlin? Hi,
Oh,
Royce.
How
are
you
you?
doing? Yeah, Caitlin
Oh, I'm
saw.
excited tonight, man. I'm glad
Oh,
Caitlin's
man,
on.
I'm
I'm
telling
so glad Caitlin's on because she's a major Alice Cooper fan like me.
major Alice Cooper fan, and I'll tell you
As a ma-
something.
as a
I get
matter of fact, Royce, this is one of the few things that Caitlin and I have no disagreements on.
Exactly.
well
Yes.
count
Them
me
and the monkeys.
Count me in. Count me
Oh,
in. No disagreements whatsoever. Okay.
Amen, brother.
I became an Alice Cooper fan. It was 71. My best friend and his younger brother, I showed up at their house. They were so excited. They pulled out this Alice Cooper album. They couldn't say enough about it. We played it. And I was an instant fan. And you guys all know less than 2 years ago up here at Vina Robles Amphitheater, I saw Alice live. And I'm going to tell you, there's not a more fun or theatrical show you could possibly go to watch. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
there's, well, first of all, Alice Cooper is considered the godfather of shock rock.
I believe
And
it.
if you haven't seen one of his shows, go see one, please. Do yourself a favor, and you'll understand why he's the godfather of shock rock. In
Yeah.
I
fact,
would consider him the granddaddy of theatric rock, too.
Which is 100%. Yeah.
Which is a little more expansive, right, Royce? I mean,
yes,
it
yes.
as an art form, it offers a vaster landscape.
Oh yeah. What we get for a lot of the theatrical shows is just lights and fires and flames
Right.
and that kind of stuff going off. But I mean, this is real theater. Not only is it real theater, okay, but Alice Cooper has first album came out in 1969. He's got 29 studio albums. Two additional ones with the Hollywood Vampires. An additional band is ongoing at the same time.
Jeez.
50 singles, 20. Is it three, Caitlin?
Yeah, because there was
Okay.
first one, second one, then the last one.
Okay. 21 compilations, 12 videos, and 1 audio book. Okay. And so he's got a huge body of work out there. I've got several albums, but I got to start by saying this first. Santa came early to my house, and that's his nickname. It's actually Michael Nolan, the bottom line. And, and this was my gift from Michael. And I tell you what,
Such a great record. It's gorgeous,
oh my
isn't it?
God,
It's gorgeous.
it's fantastic,
Isn't it?
And
Isn't it?
Okay, yeah, Royce.
you know what? It really is. In fact, I got to show one of the albums anytime it's a colored album. I mean,
Yeah.
Look at
Oh,
this.
you got the red version. Nice.
Look at
Oh,
this,
yeah.
guys. I mean, this is absolutely beautiful. Okay.
Wow, I
And
think
this-
you got better marbling on your copy than I got on mine, Royce.
I'm sorry to hear that, Michael.
I don't know. Let me check. Let's check it out. Let's just see how.
Bring out your record. I mean.
For those of you that don't know, this is a double album set, and it came with a Blu-ray DVD.
Yep.
Okay, let's see, Michael.
See, it looks like you've got a little bit more black in there. I don't
You
know.
think so?
Maybe it's the lighting.
Maybe not. Who
Could be
knows?
the lighting.
I mean,
I
this
think it's the lighting, guys.
is
I
just
really-
one of this is just one of the
think
four,
lighting.
so it's hard to say.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was able to listen to this morning, and this is the Hellfest concert. Oh my God, this was so good. I listened to it right here on my computer.
Yeah.
Of course it's good. Oh yeah, that's so righteous.
Oh my God, I tell you,
Yeah,
the
it's so righteous.
double album set in red.
And that
red-
album and that concert is kick-ass. That concert
yeah.
is
Okay.
absolute kick-ass. Yeah.
Well, one of the things I have to say, well, first of all, hi to Eric Schultz, who just joined us. Appreciate
Hey,
you, brother.
Eric.
And the Music Sanctuary. Okay, about to leave the
The
top of the chat.
Sanctuary's
I almost
in.
missed you,
Yeah.
man. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate everybody being here. But anyway, the thing that I really liked about this album, you know, now you've heard me say I loved Ozzy Osbourne's last album, Patient Number 9. Well, Ozzy
Right.
brought in all kinds of featured guests to play on different songs, and the band he's been touring with for several years now, some of those guys only got to play on a couple of songs, and I was a little bit bummed about that. I mean, I enjoyed the fact that he brought in these featured artists. I mean, people like Eric Clapton and all kinds of people. I didn't write it all down, but
Jeff Beck.
Jeff Beck.
He had
of course, Zach Wilde,
the drummer for Taylor Hawkins.
Yeah, Taylor Hawkins. Zach Wilde was kind of a regular,
right?
But still, he played on many songs. And Tony Iommi played on songs. But I wasn't really complaining. But what I could really appreciate about what Alice did is he was trying to showcase how good his live band was.
That's
the
right.
Band that he always tours with, and they are great. I'm telling you. I mean, you've got like on guitars, Tommy Henriksen, my friend Ryan Roxie, and of course Nita Strauss. Nita Strauss.
And Tommy is one of the key co-writers with Alice.
Yeah, he's a key
and
co-writer.
Other artists. But he's a producer, a songwriter, a guitarist, a bassist. He does it all.
No. That's right. That's right. Percussionist, keyboardist. And a major backup singer. So then you had on bass, Chuck Garric. Drums, Glen Sobel, and of course, like I already mentioned, keyboards and percussion, also Tommy Henriksen. And then everybody was doing vocals.
Yeah.
You know, Tommy Henriksen was pretty prominent, and Bob Ezrin, who I didn't read played any instruments, was also a vocalist on it. But I think everybody was tasked with writing some vocals, trying to, helping to write songs. They all do backup singing, Roxy, all of them, and what a fantastic band. And I really respect Alice. I mean, he's getting late in his career, obviously, and for him to let the band be a bigger part of the event by showcasing them and saying, hey, just my people these are my people. I take them on tour, and they are going to play on this album exclusively. And I really respected that. It bums me out just a little bit when a great like I was using Ozzy Osbourne for an example on Patient Number 9. As great as he is, and as much as I love his music, and as many years as I've been, twice in concert, etc. I would just like to see. I know some of the guys that are in his band. I know Tommy Clufetis, outstanding drummer. I mean, his style of drumming is more in the John Bonham. I mean, he really attacks the drum set. Yeah. And if you go on YouTube and do a search for Tommy Clufetis drum solo, he will blow your mind. And when those guys get shoved aside and they bring in all these other people, it bothers me a little bit. But
were they shoved aside, boys? See, that album was recorded as Ozzy was still recovering, and those musicians may have been out on tour with other artists. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
about
no, but some of them, I mean, they still got to play on some songs. They weren't just, completely shoved to the side.
Right.
But these guys, I mean, Ozzy's not going to be around forever. And he's got these guys in the band that have been playing with him for several years now. It'd be nice if they could get a little more, income off some of the music, as opposed to just getting paid per concert so many dollars,
Right.
So anyway, that's basically what I'm
think they all get a flat fee on the record. I mean, they get their recording time paid for. The rest of it goes to Ozzy. I'm sure Sharon has made sure of that.
Sharon comes up in any discussion. Yeah.
Her and Yoko, they're two of my favorite gals in rock. But
right.
The thing is, though, Royce. What I like about this album, not just the approach, all right, but there's got to be, out of all the cuts, I would say 5 classic rockers 5 classic. You can't,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
even I hate to say that because there's really not filler. If you feel like there's some filler with this album, I'll tell you why. Because for the most part, there's a sort of ballad on it, right? There's a Pete Townsend song, a Who cover on it,
Magic
right?
Bus. I love that.
Yeah.
The last
And-
song, the last song on the 4th side.
Right.
Yeah.
But besides those 2 cuts, it's all kick-ass, driving down the road. We're on the road. This is what's happening on the road.
That's exactly
music,
what it's
right?
like a theme album, and the theme is on the road, trucking down
Right.
the road. Yeah.
Right. And can I read something to you, Royce?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, please.
I still haven't committed all this to memory. Like I told you the last time we were talking about this album, I covered I'm Alice when that
Right,
came out.
right,
That was
right.
June, right?
No, I
Yeah.
remember. Yeah.
And I did a whole video on that, and I hadn't seen it in months, so I watched it before coming up here. That's why I was late.
Yeah.
And on that video, I brought out that Alice is playing a character always. First of
Right,
all,
right.
Billy Corgan is a Christian. Now, if that's your kind of Christian.
I didn't know that.
Now, he's what I would consider a crystal carrying Christian. He's one of those kind of new ager Christians, right? And I'm not cutting it down. Whatever floats your boat is fine.
Right.
All
Sure.
right. But Alice or Vince Fernier,
yeah.
middle name Damon. What a perfect middle name for the Prince of Theatrical Darkness, right? But he's more I would imagine the way he talks and everything, because I have a Baptist background, and he sounds pretty much Baptist or something that could be attached to it, and I think he gets cut down a lot for that. But see, that's the real Vince. When even though he's changed his name officially to Alice, but that's the Vince. I differentiate the two men. He's a family man. Right. He quit drinking. He's been sober as long as me. I've been sober for 34 years. I think he's right 40. At 30, 40. Right?
Right.
40.
I'm going to tell you something, folks. 40 years? 40? I thought him and I quit around the same time.
He got sober. He got sober in 1983. He sounds radio show. He's been
sober. All right. So he did beat me by about 7 years. So I was still out there doing the Hollywood vampire when he quit, But here's the deal. Here's the deal. I just wanted to bring this up because as we get into the album, keep this in mind. Okay. The person, the artist is Vince. That's the guy I'm in love with. Vince is coming up with these lyrics. Let me read this to you, Royce.
Fantastic.
This just kicks my ass. Okay, let me make sure I've got it here. All right. From the very first song on the album, I'm Alice. I accept your adoration. I revel in your fear. But it's your imagination that has brought you here. So here's the revelation, and let me make it clear that I am your creation. And now I disappear.
Right.
Hello, Vince.
Michael, we've talked about the strength of his vocals for a few times, and his lyrics. That's what I mean. Is his lyrics, not.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
what I meant. His lyrics.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All
but
right.
I mean, he's a great songwriter, and when I sat, and because I know he's a great songwriter, when I sat there and listened to the double album that I got from my good friend Michael Nolan as a Christmas present.
Well, Royce, you sent me so much stuff, but anyway.
When I sat there and listened to this, Michael, I had the lyrics out, and I sat there with my reading glasses on and read along with each and every song. And you're absolutely right what you're saying, about I'm Alice. But that applies to every single song.
And what about the song Big Boots? Big Boots.
Yeah.
He was in an interview, and on purpose he wrote Big Boots because it's a song about them meeting a waitress in a
little cafe, a little truck stop.
Yeah, a cafe, truck stop.
Right.
And all they could say was they looked at her feet and said, "Oh, wow, what big boots!" And the interviewer asked Alice, and he said, "You know what they're gonna be?" He goes, "We knew that when I was writing. Yeah, of course they're gonna be saying big boobs because that's really what the song is all about."
Yeah, of course.
The whole song is about big-breasted women.
Yeah.
How rock and roll is that? Take that motley spew.
Yeah, I like how he refers to himself as a gigolo and how he pleases every woman. I mean, the guy's just his lyrics are awesome, man. His lyrics are awesome. I'm like,
why are you saying? Did you say
what's that?
Okay, so this
other version. I'm like, what? Oh,
but you know, Caitlin. The man is 75 years old, and in that interview, I think this is why you and I love them so much. When I'm on your stream and I'm typing away in the peanut gallery, and he said this in the interview. He says, and this is true for me. Okay, some of the lyrics in this song says, "If I wasn't in a rock and roll band, I'd be a criminal." Right. In other words, that's my favorite song on the album is "The Dead Can't Dance." I love that song. All right, check that one out because I'm telling you, I've always been a fan of him as an artist, as a writer. I liked him better with the classic Alice Cooper band, but he never really let us down, even after that dissolved. And here's the thing about this whole aspect is he admits in the song and in the interview that playing live in a band as he does at 75 years old, which his voice is in great shape. His band is as kick-ass as any band you could wish to see these days, right?
Yeah,
and on top of 3 guitarists, and the whole album, you have your center guitar, your left guitar, and your right guitar, which is exactly how I love my Alice. But he says it keeps him alive and that he can't even imagine retiring. I've told you this, Royce. I spent from 2011 until 2021, 10 years in retirement. Okay. I was retired, had my pension, had my retirement, and I was turning into an old man right in front of my eyes. Now, I'm 68, folks. All right, I'm 68. So yeah, I'm an old man as far as the numbers go. But Alice said, if you ask me how I feel, where my spirit is, where my head is, he says, I've never let go of the child in me, and I feel like I'm 34 to 39. Same here. Exact same here. So when I say there's exciting rock music, boy, if we got time later on, let's talk about that joke of a list, the 100 greatest albums from Rolling Stone magazine. I spit on you, Rolling Stone. I spit on you. Hey, Chris.
Yeah,
I had a feeling you'd be here tonight, brother.
Let's all welcome Chris Elliott to the show.
Yes.
Okay, so what I wanted to say next, well, this album was released, what was it? August 23. August 23. In addition to I'm Alice, we also had the singles Welcome to the Show and All Over the World that were released prior to the album being released. So it's pretty fresh. It's pretty fresh. I'm really happy to have a copy of it.
Hey,
I mean, this album is beautiful. Yes, Kate.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Pardon me.
No, go ahead.
The gatefold on your record.
Yes.
I was there when they took that picture in 2020.
No. Okay. Now, where did you see? Where were you actually when the picture was taken?
So the story behind this photo, I was there, and you can see Nita's there, and Anita appeared. She surprised the crowd. It's when I was reviewing for work, the very first time. And Coop and me, his peeps, I call them, virtual people, were performing 20 minutes away from me, just in Loveland. And we got to go, and then there's Ken Roberts, and I enjoyed the whole show. Now, out of nowhere, during School's Out, right, it became part of School's Out. Here comes Nita Strauss, just surprising everybody in Loveland. The whole place just lit up. So I was I actually seen Nita Strauss right in front of my face. And I'm like,
I'm a big fan of her. I've kind of said that I shied away from the Van Halen, the modal playing type of guitarist, but I find her refreshing out of that style of guitarist because she returns to the blues often in her modes. So then that becomes somehow okay with me, right? Plus, he's got a couple of great guitarists there right on the album that are playing very rootsy blues, and they blend and those guitars so well on this album.
And Ryan Roxie, and I've always been a Ryan Roxie fan.
Yeah,
I've met him a half a dozen times, and every time I see him play, he seems even more fluid. His fingers are like magic. But you know what? No, one was no better than the other between those three, Henriksen and Nita Strauss. They were just
I'll tell you what, though.
Top of the line.
Yeah, I don't even like her better than that. I know she's kind of the big name these days, and I think that's mainly because she is a female guitar player that she's the first one I'm aware of, and now I'll get tons of typing. Didn't you hear about Romaine from Romance? She's the first one that I was aware of out of female guitarists that actually can play as good as the very best male guitarists in rock. So she kind of gets notoriety around that, and she's easy on the eyes, right?
Oh yeah. Hey, you know what? Mike's got the spins has a comment. We were just talking about this. Alice took us on the road. It feels a lot like he took us on the road. I mean, that is the premise of the whole album. Double album is being on the road. What it's like being on the road. So
and he takes on different personalities. For example, when he does what's the name of the song?
Frankenstein.
What's that?
White Line Frankenstein.
Yes, thank you. White Line Frankenstein, which is my second favorite cut on the album. All right. Now, Caitlin, think about, have you ever seen the Jeepers Creepers movies?
Yeah. You mean Creepers?
Jeepers Creepers. I'm sorry. Jeepers Creepers. Yeah, I was skipping to the second line in the song. Creepers.
Jeepers Creepers.
Okay. Yeah, I like them too. And I even liked the third one. I thought, man, that one was jamming.
Hulu. I watched it the other day. Yeah.
Now listen to White Line Frankenstein and think of the Creeper. Couldn't that be? Couldn't that be? Yeah. I mean, you can just think of either of those horror films and White Line Frankenstein. Now, he wrote the song about the guy who drives the truck and moves the equipment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Because he says, and I believe him. He says he's just absolutely one of the luckiest men in the world. Because first of all, his rules are loose to work with. People love to work with him because if somebody has to leave, like Nita did, he says, "Sure, go." And come back whenever you want, right?
Right.
And I believe him. And his roadies do. He says, but when they quit working for me, there are a few monsters that work for me that take up another tour for 3 months and then another tour for 3. He says, this song, and he says, I have one guy in mind, but there's a couple that fit the bill. All right. So yes, he is taking us on a live show. And the show is about putting on a live show. And what more honest way can you do that on a record than record the whole fucking thing live in the studio?
Let me show a couple of quick. Absolutely, Michael. I agree 100%.
I love it.
I'm going to show a couple of when I talk.
This is my favorite record since Welcome #2, My Nightmare. You know, the second Welcome to My Nightmare. I loved that. And I love the fact that there was actually Alice Cooper band members from the original band on it. And by the way, Royce, don't forget, I covered this earlier this year. Alice, in the same interview I just saw, Alice says, and I've got another album that's ready to go.
I want
right now.
That's coming out, darn it.
And keep in mind what he said in 2021. And his producer, Bob Ezrin, said in 2021 that there is a possibility that it'll be an Alice Cooper band record.
Bring it on. Yeah.
All right.
Love it.
Yeah.
Who was it? Glenn that passed away? Glenn Buxton? Was that him?
I'm not sure.
So son's Glenn Buxton, but the rest of the band is there. And I've been waiting for that. I would just they helped him in the second Welcome to My Nightmare, and you can tell they're there. They've got a stamp. Those guys. Oh, I would just and plus I love his touring band now. All right, I'm happy.
Yeah, oh, I do too. Yeah.
But I would claw. I would poke out eyes. I would bite to get tickets to see the original Alice Cooper band as fully intact as they could be. Oh, that would be my dream of dreams in any concert.
Yeah. And I want to talk about the early beginnings in a second. But first, if anybody hasn't seen Alice Cooper live or even videos of him live, I got a couple of pictures I have to show here.
Oh, sure.
We're talking about theatrics. I mean, it really is a play within a concert.
Oh, it's great.
Oh, several plays within a concert.
Here's Alice Cooper. Every show he gets beheaded, and they take the head out of the basket, and somebody runs around the stage with it.
Right.
And,
when he was doing that show and the woman kind of vampiress was holding his head and kissing the beheaded, right. You know who he should get for this upcoming tour to do that? How about Annie Lennox? Ann Lennox? You know who I'm talking about. Huh?
Oh my gosh. Coop mentioned this.
She would be perfect. I'm thinking
Annie Lennox. You know what's funny? Coop.
She could play that part so well, you know.
Well, he wants to do a duet with her.
Yeah.
I would love to see it.
Right.
Oh, do you know what he also said in that interview? All right, because I've been doing a lot of Kiss videos. I'm so sick of that. Right now. I know. But see, you're almost from the Kiss Army, Caitlin, and I am more. I think Royce is more where I'm coming from. They're good stuff. I liked. Johnny. Oh, we are blessed tonight.
Johnny L here.
Johnny L.
You know what? This might have happened to me last week looking for you, Michael. I had to scroll down on a little scroller right here to find Johnny L after he said he was backstage.
Sorry,
and,
I
didn't. We had other people.
Oh, I'm glad you caught him, brother.
Yeah.
Because
sorry to interrupt there, Michael, on your.
No, man. I'm just so glad you're here.
Listen, I listened to a bit of. You gotta love Alice Cooper. You gotta love
him. Absolutely, we do.
I was listening to his some of his album, and he sucks you into this like horror stroke almost type thing, and then all of a sudden he hits you with a friggin' ballad.
Right.
It's like
right.
You're like like that. Then all of a sudden the ballad comes in, right? It's like
you know what, Johnny? When I heard that, I think that's "Please Don't Go." Is that the song?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I'm a sucker for ballads. I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. That, to me, when I heard that was Alice Cooper's version of Wichita Lineman. You know, the guy that has to leave. But baby, please don't go. But baby, I gotta. It's early in the morning, and he's pulling up his side. Doesn't that? And I can hear her on the wire. That type of thing. Only it's Alice freaking Cooper, man.
And let me ask Chris Elliott. Chris, are you an Alice Cooper fan?
huge Alice Cooper fan. Yeah.
Oh, right on. Have you seen him in concert?
Seen him twice here at the Coliseum in Windsor at the casino.
Oh, outstanding. Outstanding.
Great.
The first one I got my tickets, you couldn't have timed it any better. My girlfriend and I, we were walking into the lounge to get a bite to eat. My aunt and uncle were walking out. You guys going to the show? No, we don't have tickets. Well, we're not going. Here you go.
You're kidding me.
And then I think that was either 2018 or 2019. And then I saw him again in the end of 22.
Wow.
Well, that's great. That's great. I saw him a little less than 2 years ago, April. And he came, he was back in town a few months ago, same venue. And I don't know what was happening, but I didn't make it, and I really am kicking myself right now. Yeah.
Missed it.
That was such a great tour. Freaks on Parade, not just Alice Cooper, but you have Rob Zombie, Mystery and Filter, the four
Yeah,
I was having a blast over there.
Right.
The thing is about Alice Cooper is he's totally different on stage and in person. In person, you think this is Alice Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
He's so mild, so like nice and kind and everything else. And then you see him on stage and he's like an animal, right?
Right.
But, I mean,
right.
Was,
well,
right?
go back to the beginning, Michael. We've talked about this a few times, but it was Frank Zappa produced the first album. They were all living up in Laurel Canyon. It's amazing how much you go back to Laurel Canyon.
Love that story.
And
God, yeah.
Yeah. And we had another Laurel Canyon alumni, Neil Young, came to our little local record store because he's been going to the Carlton Hotel and hanging out in the Tascadero and walking the streets with his wife. She played in the Splat, Daryl Hannah. Yeah. But anyway, so he came down to the local record store and was signing copies of his new album. And that was Saturday morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you go?
Oh, I didn't get one. It turned out like I thought. It was kind of a madhouse. They started lining people up at 7 a.m, and they weren't going to let you take any really good. He was going to autograph it for everybody. You couldn't bring any other albums of his to get them autographed, just the new one that you were buying. But it was cool. But I guess it was pretty chaotic. There was only 300 albums and thousands of people showed up. So you probably would have had to got there at 6 o'clock in the morning and got in line or something,
Oh yeah.
So anyway, so I'll know how to handle that next time.
Right. Now what's this Michael Chavez is saying?
Okay, let me go back.
My high school is mentioned in alma mater.
Okay, we're out on.
Speaking of high school.
And Caitlin's in the Monkeys Army. Go ahead, Chris.
Speaking of high schools, my dad and a few of his first cousins, my second cousins.
I like that comment.
They all saw Alice Cooper 3 times at their different high schools.
No kidding.
Back in the early 70s.
Wow.
Bob Seger, you name it. Just being so close to Detroit. And that was his home base until they moved permanently to LA.
That's cool. That's cool when they show up at the high schools and stuff. The only person that ever showed up at our high school in Henderson, Nevada, we're just outside of Las Vegas, was Sammy Davis Jr. because the Rat Pack kind of owned Vegas at the time. And he was friends with one of the school teachers, female school teacher. They were buddies.
Alice Cooper.
Most famous band that I ever saw in a high school gym was Black Oak, Arkansas.
No,
and they were great. Yeah.
No, I
and
saw
they
them,
were already known. They were well known.
Oh, yeah.
But they were touring the South, and they were in North Carolina, and I saw them in a high school gym.
I saw Black Oak, Arkansas at the California Jam, the Ontario Speedway here in California. It was the second time I got to see Black Sabbath. The Eagles were there. Deep Purple was there. Wow. It was an insane lineup. And I think I mentioned this before. Whenever I tell a story, a helicopter flew in Linda Lovelace, and she got up on stage and let us all know how she'd like to know us all a little bit better, But anyway, so that was great. And Black Oak, Arkansas is a great band. You're right.
Oh, I loved them.
Oh yeah, they're great. So anyway, getting back, so Alice Cooper was they've got their, and it wasn't Alice Cooper yet. It was still Vince Furnier. but his band was named Alice Cooper. Okay.
Yeah.
And they went to, he approached Alice Cooper in Laurel Canyon, wanted to know if Alice was interested in producing an album for him. They hadn't produced one yet. And Michael, you know this story very well. They told he told him to show up at 6 o'clock the next day. They showed up at 6 in the morning and woke him up. And Zappa meant 6 at night. You know, he was kind of pissed at first.
Yeah, they were like all dressed up too. Yeah.
But he wound up producing that first album, you know, and so you know the rest is history. That was
Frank
in 60.
Zappa.
I think that was 68.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frank Zappa had his hands in a lot of things, didn't he?
He really did.
He even was a really big fan of doo-wop as well, because I played a few of his songs.
Okay.
A few of his songs in my on the channel that I'm on as a DJ.
Okay.
And when I found out it was Frank Zappa behind these songs, it's like, holy Christ, you got to be kidding me! You know?
Yeah.
Well, Zappa did it all. I mean, that man from one album to the other sounded different.
Right.
Oh yeah. For sure.
He's a very smart smart man.
Yeah. Royce.
Yeah.
The morning thing was actually 7 a.m.
Oh, okay. 7 a.m. Okay, that wasn't as bad, but they partied hardy up there in Laurel Canyon.
I won't go.
I just
but you know that, Caitlin, that also brings up the drive that the Alice Cooper band had at that point. Think about that. You know, there's nothing jaded about these young men at that point in their career. They would do, you tell me to show up at 6 o'clock and mop your floors, I will do it. I'm serious about making it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I just want to say to everybody, this is kind of a, I don't know, sort of a party night on the show. And I'm putting a link up. And if anybody else wants to join us, you know,
sure, come on up.
We can hold up to 10 people here.
Yeah.
Just come backstage and we'll bring you on. And that's open invitation here. So anyway, guys, so that's when they got started up in Laurel Canyon with Zappa producing. I think they did 3 albums as the Alice Cooper Band before Alice Cooper changed his name. And then in 74, he did his last concert with the Alice Cooper Band and left them and went solo and changed his name to Alice Cooper. And you know, there was some you know, differences,
animosity
in approach and animosity, and it was all about you know, who was going to own who was going to own the albums and stuff. So he went ahead and just went solo. So anyway,
he pretty much does own the albums. Check your streaming services. I know on the Apple streaming services, you look him up, and his albums and the original Alice Cooper Band albums are all under his name.
Right.
You know, with other artists, sometimes you'll see their solo albums, and then you have to go over to the band they came from to get.
Right.
Yeah, and that's not true with him. So he pretty much owns it. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know, while we're talking here, I do have a few other Alice Cooper albums that I'd like to just hold up and show real quick. And this is of course his School's Out. And this is a great album. When I bought this album came with the infamous pink panties, okay? And here's the pink panties that came with this album. And you know what was funny is I was showing this a second time months later after I showed it the first time. Those are years. Could have even been the first time a year later than I showed it the first time. And I was talking about the pink panties. And I started searching for them and I couldn't find them. I go, is this the right album? And then all of a sudden the next day when I came into my office, I looked down and they were on the floor. They'd fallen out and they were on the floor.
Well, so you know what? The pink panties came from I'll be back on screen here in a minute. I'm adjusting stuff here in the studio, but the pink panties came from, that's our generation. When I went to high school, girls used to have panty races, and what they do is they take off their panties while sitting in class with another girl and trade panties and put them on, and all of us guys would sit there and watch them. right?
I guess I went to the wrong school.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Oh,
What the-
really, man? You
what
never
bloody-
saw
Yeah,
that?
well,
Well,
Dude.
not in the classroom anyway.
It's because
Oh.
I run the those reissues from his radio show before it went off the air.
Yeah.
And first off, the panties are white, not mine, I think. And it's,
Yeah, in Michael, it sounds like in Michael's high school, panties were bouncing off the wall like rubber
Yeah.
bands, and
Dude, panties were bouncing off the wall when I was in 8th grade at
Michael,
Santa Rosa Junior High.
Oh,
All right.
Santa Rosa
What
Junior
school,
High.
what school did you bloody well go to? I would have loved to went to that school.
Oh, those were the days, my friends.
I know,
I totally agree. I totally agree with Eric Schultz here. Thank God the guys didn't trade their shorts.
Or
God.
the jock
God.
straps. Or the
That would
jock
have been lethal. That would have been lethal.
This whole panty talk reminds me of an episode on his radio show where right before he released the reissues, he spent 20 minutes. This is why I'm laughing. Like, oh no, it's coming back. I'm like,
Hey, I have a fun fact.
he spent 20 minutes telling us that the panties in Schools Out reissues are not flammable. He spent 20 minutes telling us why the panties are not flammable. And I'm just here going, I'm trying to keep it together, and he's being serious, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't keep it together. That's why I'm laughing. It reminds me of that.
Another one I have is Alice Cooper Killer. And yeah, it's a great album. It really is.
Hey, fun fact about Alice Cooper.
Okay, go ahead.
Is here in Detroit, well, based in Windsor, but a Detroit station, CKLW, AM 800, back in the late 60s and 70s. Their music director, Rosalie Tremblay, who, if you ever heard of Bob Seger's song Rosalie, that's about her, the girl with the golden ear. Well, she actually helped Alice Cooper choose all his early singles. $1 Billion Baby.
Really?
He wasn't going to release that as a single. She talked him into it.
No kidding.
School's Out was not going to be the first single from that album. She talked him into it. And
wow.
If you want to know, Michael, you like to talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, aka Shame. Look up Rosalind Trombley. I mean it. Look it up, her. And you want to talk about a shame for somebody not being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Bar none.
I'll check her out, brother. Yeah, thanks for the tip.
Yeah, there's a video out there with Tony Orlando, and he's talking. It's I forget what award. It's an award for her at St. Clair College, and he's talking about how she told him when he went to Vietnam, he came back. The song "Tie a Ribbon" or "Yellow Ribbon Around a Tree." I think that's the song.
Around the Old Oak Tree, yeah. Tony Orlando and Dawn, yeah.
He said, when you finish this tour and you still think you can, you don't want to do any music, you come to me and I'll release that song for you. And then it was in the movie. She talked him into putting it in the movie and all kinds of stuff. Like, she is definitely, there'd be no Motown. There'd be no Alice Cooper, Bob Seger, Ted Nugent. Even Elton John. Like, you look at her and do some research on her, you'll be amazed. If there's someone who should be there in a builder's category, it would be her.
Okay.
I'll check her out.
Makes
Thanks,
sense,
bro.
Yeah, thanks. Wow.
Definitely. You guys would be interested in it for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to be looking for it.
Hey, Royce, what before you get on to that one, I was going to say, the whole reason I'm an Alice Cooper fan was because of Killer. I saw a band when I was living in North Carolina, my senior or junior year, and they were playing Halo of Flies. I thought that was their song, and they turned me on to the album Killer. So I went down and bought it the next day. I was blown away. And so I have a special place in my heart for Halo of Flies.
Gotcha.
That's a spy song, by the way. That's a spy.
What's that?
It's a spy song.
Killer may be my favorite Alice Cooper album. If I think about it, it would certainly be in the top 3.
It's a good album.
Top 3. Yeah.
Killer's actually number 1 on my list.
Really?
Actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. What about you, Johnny? Are you a Alice Cooper fan or?
Well, I could say that I do like some of his songs, like "I'm 18" and a few of the ones that I listened to in the '70s. You know,
Right.
Now, I be honest, I don't have any Alice Cooper albums per se.
Right.
But I was kind of more into the Sticks and stuff like that, right?
Right.
But
yeah,
I do like some of his songs, and some of his ballads are pretty good as well. So
right.
yeah,
I
don't say I hate them, but
I understand that. Yeah, that's kind of like Kiss for me. You know, I like some of their major songs. I just never got into them. Matter of fact, in that interview I was mentioning earlier, Royce, Alice Cooper said that he was questioned early on when Kiss came out and said, well, aren't they kind of ripping off your thing? And he said, yeah, but, you know, we're Alice Cooper and they are for Alice Coopers, you know, is how he saw it. And he said that when they were first getting hot and everything, they'd come to the band for advice and they bought all their fucking their makeup from Alice Cooper's source. All right. So, you know, there's a tie there. And yet, for some reason, I was never a big Kiss fan.
Yeah.
Although I you know, the presentation and everything's fine. It's theatrical rock. I understand it. But Alice Cooper, to me, there's Kiss and Alice Cooper. See, his lyrics are even prophetic. Think about, you know, I cited the words and I won't bore everybody because I've got a lot of his words memorized. But on $1 Billion Babies, where he talks about, you know, please clean your plate, dear. The Lord above you, right? All right. That whole song was written back in the 70s. And listen to the lyrics now and tell me if it didn't remind you of what was happening during lockdown. I mean, his lyrics are almost prophetic. Name something from Kiss that does something like that.
No. Well, you know, Michael Chavez kind of hit the nail on. Michael Chavez pretty much hit the nail on the head here for me. It's like, you know, I'd say 3 years ago I could.
Yeah, but you don't get yelled at, Royce. When I say it, boy, she just goes blow. You know.
But what I'm trying to say though is, 3 years ago I couldn't have given you the name of a single Kiss album. I just never really got into them, and then all of a sudden I had four co-hosts on my show that were massive Kiss fans. I mean, one of them bought a Kiss pinball machine. One of them had a Kiss collectible channel that had 4,000 subscribers. And they were huge Kiss fans. So we wound up, you know, gravitating towards Kiss a lot of times. They had collectible stuff that would just blow your mind. Kiss stuff, you know, rare stuff.
Oh, I know.
And and I tell you what, I kind of started from that point. I bought one of their live albums, and I bought Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, and then you know, Kiss Greatest Hits, one of these Kiss Greatest Hits things. And I found songs that I like, but I'm still not, you know, I'll never be rabid about them, you know. But, they were and
they're fine. Them at their best, they're fine. I call them the luckiest garage band on planet Earth, because now this doesn't. Lady, I have been in so many damn garage bands in my life. This isn't cutting them down. All right, there's great garage bands, and I think that's what they were. But by that I mean Ace Frehley wasn't Van Halen or Jeff Beck or Eric Clapton or Carlos Santana. He was good. All right, Gene Simmons on bass is a good bass player. I think he's maybe the most solid musician when he's glued in from the whole band. If you ask me,
I would probably pick Eric Singer, the drummer. Eric Singer, I think, is underrated, and I know him personally. I may be a little biased, but he is God. He's godfather to one of my grandchildren.
Yeah.
And and so I've been around him a dozen times,
right.
Different.
But I'm talking about the original. I'm talking about the original members.
Oh, I know you are. I know you are.
And how they made it.
Freely and
Yeah. They were like one of the last garage band type of bands to get famous back in the early to mid 60s. That's how we got new rock bands. We had very young A&R people going out to cities. And they would hear, oh, this garage band's playing down at this pub or down at that bar. And they were looking for talent in those days. And that's where we got a lot of our stuff, for those, I'd say, 63 through 67. Yeah. And a lot of American bands got discovered along those lines. They didn't last long, right? And Kiss did, but it doesn't cut them down. There are Creedence Clearwater Revival weren't the greatest musicians on the planet, and yet they're in my top bands of all time.
I absolutely love
so Royce.
Clearwater.
Yeah,
Royce. I have. I know this isn't a Beatles thing, but I wanted to show you something, and I wanted to.
Okay, go ahead.
I want you to read. I want to read something up to which rings true.
Okay. Go ahead.
This is a picture of the Beatles.
Okay.
I had it framed, but I wanted to read something here. It says, Bing was threatened by Frank. Frank was threatened by Elvis. Elvis was threatened by the Beatles. And then at the bottom it says, the Beatles haven't been threatened by anyone in 60 years.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yep.
The Beatles.
Well, they're definitely in a class all their own. I mean, I
just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah. And as far as I guess you could look at that. I look at Led Zeppelin took up the mantle.
Well, that's the one band I was going to mention. I would definitely. I'd listen to Led Zeppelin far more.
And Pink Floyd threatened the Beatles in the long run. I think they threatened the Beatles with just some of the. But I mean, if you're talking just like top pop acts in history, you're probably right, Johnny. I mean, the Led Zeppelin didn't have a ton of singles because they didn't want to even put them out, right? And even Pink Floyd, their singles were, it's not like they had singles out 4 times a year like the Beatles did, like Sinatra did. So there's truth in it there. But as far as artists, and I consider all those people you mentioned before the Beatles as true artists, by the way.
Well, James Watson.
It did continue. Led Zeppelin took up the mantle, and nobody has beat them since, though.
No. James Watson brought up a really valid point. The Beatles are threatened now by Taylor Swift.
Bullshit. That woman couldn't tie Ringo's left nut. All right? Good Lord. First of all right. This woman makes songs about bitching about her boyfriend. Enough of her. Good Lord.
In the vein of Britney Spears. That's right. Yeah.
God.
I thought you might like that.
Poor Michael.
Taylor Swift will, in 60 years, be a very rich bag lady going through the bargain bin for all her freaking albums that nobody's fucking listening to.
Well, she
they'll still be listening to the Beatles in 60 years. And the joke will be, hey, did you know this woman, they used to say she was as big as the Beatles.
That's one thing I'll say on her behalf, and I don't have any of her albums, don't get me wrong, but she just made a donation to charity that was supposed to feed 500,000 people for a year. It was that large.
Oh, wow. How nice of her and her team to let us know. What's that old adage in the Bible? Do not let your right hand know what your left hand is doing, give with that kind of freedom of heart.
Well, you know, some people are switch. Some people
She's
are
a
switch,
walking fucking ad.
some people are switch hitters, Michael. The right hand has to know what the left hand is.
And she is the first. She's the first touring act to ever make over $1 billion in her tour, and she's only halfway there.
Yeah, I know. She's
People
making
have
the
a lot
money.
of time and money on their hands. That's all.
Well,
Right.
And her audience is filled with the same audience that the Beatles was filled with. Young women cutting their teeth on life for the first time, and they're being taught to bitch about everything.
Michael, it's not only that, it's the same audience that was coming to the concerts that Jimi Hendrix was opening for the Monkees. Okay.
Right.
And Jimi Hendrix would go up there and open for him, and he was met with the crowd screaming, "Yeah, we want, Davey, we want Davey." And he finally, after the 7th show, flipped the crowd off, threw his guitar off, and walked off the damn stage and quit the tour.
Yeah, don't blame him.
Have you seen the prices? Have you seen the prices of Taylor Swift's tickets?
Yeah,
oh,
Alex was there to see
Taylor Swift.
No, I haven't.
Oh my God!
I've never wanted to look them up.
They're in the $1,000 range or more. In the $1,000 range or more.
Wow, I didn't know that.
The cheap seats are like a little over $1,000 for the cheap seats.
No, that can't really.
The ticket prices are absolutely friggin'.
Well, that's because it's the parents' credit cards that are buying all those tickets.
Oh yeah, I say right. It's like no damn way would I spend now.
No.
If I wouldn't.
And the same audience, Johnny, will pay to see cartoons thrown up in 3D of Kiss. All right. All right. Okay, and the same audience that's showing up, and Kiss is going to show up at the Las Vegas Sphere. The Las Vegas Sphere, everything's a video game. Real life, if it isn't a video game, just doesn't interest people anymore.
You're right.
What? That's sad.
That's an interesting comment. That's an interesting comment, Michael. I have seen video of the inside of the Sphere that you're talking about, and I grew up back in Vegas anyway, but I tell you what, it's against everything I've ever heard you say about the lit bracelets and being part of the show and everything like that. But that screen, it is a spectacular light show, I'm telling you. I mean,
yeah, and if I wanted to see the Nutcracker Suite done really, that would be wonderful. Okay,
right.
But you go back now. Here's the thing, Royce. Take a look at those same videos and the ones of U2, right?
Right.
And take your eyes off the fucking wall. Look at U2 from those videos. They're about this big in those videos.
Oh, I know.
All right. Okay. I saw Paul McCartney at the Cow Palace, and I was within 7 feet of the man.
Okay.
I saw him in Berkeley when he restarted touring after John Lennon's death, and he was about this big, right? So I paid to see him a third time, and I paid at the time very expensive tickets, $250, to get halfway between where I was at Berkeley and where I was at the Cow Palace. And the Cow Palace cost me $20. All right. Wow. So here's the deal. These I call it a crystal ball stuck in the desert. It's snake oil. It takes away so much of what real live rock and roll is all about. It pulls the audience further from the band and engrosses them into an alternative reality. It sounds like a damn Marvel movie.
I agree with that, but you got to admit it's a fit in glittery Las Vegas. I mean, that is Las Vegas.
Yeah, that I agree with you. But
Vegas isn't what it used to be. when I was a kid growing up back there, and of course, my parents both worked in Vegas. When I was a teenager, I worked in Vegas. My whole family worked in Vegas. It was 9 miles down the road. But the interesting thing was they literally gave the fucking food away just to get you in the casino. You could
I hear that's not true anymore.
You could go get steak and eggs for $1.69. You could go up to the Rainbow Club in Henderson, and you could have a full breakfast: bacon, eggs, toast, coffee, whatever you wanted to drink. And it started out, I think, at 39 cents. And it was just they gave the food away. They weren't trying to make money on the food. That was just something they'd lose money on the food to get you in there because they knew you were going to gamble once you got in there. And and the whole thing was like that. Now, unless you're a high roller, they're going to charge you for parking. It's all celebrity chefs in there now, charging you a fortune for a meal. And then the slot machines are so tight, you better not book a room for 4 days, even if it's free, because you're not going to have anything to do for the next 3 days.
Well, Vegas is nothing more than a Disney fucking cruise in the middle of the desert.
Right.
I got to stop cussing. Sorry. Just get me talking about Madison Square Garden Entertainment, who owns that facility. Right, so there's the lockdown between the East Coast and the West Coast. And I've done videos on these, the connections between MSG, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Rolling Stone magazine, who can't make up its mind about what's good music, and all of that. The people lip syncing at these events, rock stars getting lazier and lazier because they can just hide out at Vegas for 15 weeks instead of hitting the road.
Right.
And you jam pack, what is it, 20, 30,000 people?
Michael, what a contrast you just said.
To that, exactly.
To the Road album.
Yes.
Exactly, which is what we're praising tonight, folks.
The whole premise is they're on the road. Every one of these songs is about being on the road.
Right.
So, Royce, so the ticket in Toronto for the Rogers Center for Taylor Swift floor seats, the floor seats, I got the floor seats are they run differently, but this one particular floor's row and seat is worth $22,282 US.
Oh man, wow!
And some of them go as high as $2,400.
Wow.
Well, Bruce Springsteen is charged $8,000 for prime tickets.
Unbelievable.
McCartney charges $5,000. Yeah. $5,000 to see Paul McCartney. And there's no other artist that has affected me like Paul McCartney. John Lennon was on that level until he passed away. Paul got more time, but he has affected me as a musician, as a fan, as a recording engineer, as all of that. Yeah. And I call bullshit on Paul. He's become corporate.
I wouldn't pay that much to see anybody. It's ridiculous.
No, neither.
I love the Michael. I love the comment you made probably a year or so ago. How about a give back concert, not get back concert? Where you're giving back to the people that made you a fucking billionaire.
That's right. And on top of that, McCartney was one of the very earliest rockers to take on corporate sponsorship. You want to know why tickets are so high? Corporate sponsorship started that whole deal, folks.
I can believe that.
All right.
Listen, I love the Beatles, but I wouldn't pay not even $600.
No, hell no.
Mm-hmm.
The prices are just gone out of hand with these concerts.
I feel sorry for the people that went to the early Beatles concerts, even though they probably like $5 to get in.
Yeah,
the girl screamed so loud the Beatles couldn't even hear themselves on the stage.
At the Hollywood Bowl, it was like that. I got the album, and you can't even hear the songs on this record.
Yeah,
right.
James Watson brought up the Stones. I have on my desk calendar. I have marked the date they're playing in Las Vegas. In Las Vegas in May.
They're going to be Denver in June, but it's gonna be during our Stampede.
You know, I used to.
I looked at the pre-sale tickets. For 2 tickets, it was $114 together.
Wow.
Which
well, you know what? Getting back to Alicecooper. Now, all these people we've been talking about, and all these ticket prices, these venues, these residencies, right? Here's Alicecooper, and he's put out 29 albums. Royce says more with compilation, all of that, but 29 albums.
Right.
In 55 years. What is that? An album every year and 3/4 on 20, the average?
And
average?
21 compilations also.
Yep. And putting out this album with such great, his recent albums have been very good.
Very good. Yes.
His quality hasn't slipped.
If anything, it's going up.
Yeah. I mean, you know, this is what we're missing.
Yeah.
To me. And that's why I was real excited to be on the show tonight. To talk about Alicecooper, because we need more 75-year-old rockers still in great shape, able to their voice isn't shot, right? And they're still writing brand new music right and left and left. He's got an album out right now, ready to go. That'll be number 30 in 55 years.
Look how much poor Sean McCall had to pay to see Zeppelin. With Johnny Winter.
I'm jealous.
$5.50.
Oh God.
I want to go outside. I want to go outside and kill myself.
My Zepp tickets cost me $20, and I knew they had gone up. $20 when I paid to see them was like people were going, "Oh, this is starting to get kind of."
Oh yeah.
But those were in the back of days. Back in those days, $20 could get you a carton of cigarettes and a quarter lid. And enough beer to put you out for a week.
Oh yeah, well we had a pretty good scam at the Las Vegas Convention Center. Me and my friends when we were teenagers, we discovered away from the main entrance there was a door that was left open. There was always a security guard standing there, and then we'd notice he'd disappear. So our MO got to be stand a little closer to where he was hanging out. And when he disappeared, we'd creep up and look back and forth and run in there and then blend with the crowd. I must have got in to see 5 great concerts that way when I was a teenager.
Michael, I thought you were excited because you found out that I was going to be on the show, and I'll only charge you $2.99.
Well, see, now this is ingratitude. This is my son, folks. Johnny is my son. And I'm in his will. And I have to pay the ticket price. Nepotism does not raise its ugly head on Royce in the house.
No. I tell you, these old ticket prices that Sean's showing are killing me. $3.50 to see the Pretenders.
Can you imagine? And $5 to see the Beatles? $5 to see the Beatles.
20 years ago, I paid $21.50 plus tax to see, the top 3 bands were the Guess Who, Rush, AC/DC, and the Rolling Stones, plus another 16 bands.
Holy crap.
With 497,300 people.
Wow.
In Toronto at the
that was SARS. One hell of a lineup.
Yeah, it was the most in Canadian Rocks for SARS Toronto.
Oh, was it you're talking about the SARS thing.
Fest.
And it was in Willowdale Park, wasn't there, or something like that? The big park there?
The big park.
North York. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. That was incredible.
That's when people got together and enjoyed the music and everything. And now I notice that, I don't know what's because of this COVID crap that happened and all this crap that happened, but now I notice a lot of people are more gloomy and everything. It wasn't like back then where you said that at that SARS concert, that was a huge lineup. And people were friendly. They were like just cheering, happy, and everything. You never see that much anymore. Really,
to the horizon in every direction. There was
I remember
people, the stage, and then behind me you could see the concession, whatever. But
I remember.
But what do we see today? It was just reported Live Nation. For any of their tours, you've got to supply proof that you've been to go vaccinated.
Yeah.
All right. What? So slowly and sure. Yep, that's the new thing that just came out. Yeah. Live Nation. Yep.
Well, guys, Dan Goucher just brought up a great point about AI and how they're going to have to charge so much to recoup all their tech costs for doing it. I mean, are we going to see a day where the floor is $1,000 a seat for an AI show? Everything.
Oh, easily. That'll happen with Kiss. As soon as they, crank this show up, that's going to happen right away.
I could see a Saturday morning Kiss cartoon. I mean, that would be fun. A children's show though, with them all made up and stuff. But I certainly can't see.
Didn't they already have one of those in the past? Wasn't there an animated?
You know what? There may have been something a long time ago.
Well, weren't they on a Scooby Doo?
Something like that, yeah.
Something or other.
Maybe, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Send my avatar to the AI show. Yeah, we don't know what the future holds, but it's making me nervous.
It's not making me nervous. I'm fine.
Well, the only thing I like about this new technology, Royce, is I'm actually asleep right now. I sent my avatar over tonight. But I haven't got him figured out. He keeps cussing. So, I've got to program that in.
You're right.
Yeah.
I have visual pressing up Go to Hell and Welcome to My Nightmare.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, here's Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare, another Alice Cooper album.
That's number
I have.
3. Number 2 is Go to Hell. The album. Not you, Michael. You're fine. It's the album. I love it.
And then I really like this one, of course. It's Alice Cooper's greatest hits. This is a nice album.
Mm-hmm.
You gave me the CD to that. Yeah.
I did, didn't I? Wow.
Yes, he did. He sent me a CD to that. He gave me a CD of that. This CD.
But I tell you what, out of all of them right now, this is my absolute favorite. I love this album. It is fantastic.
My other favorite song on that album, it's 100 Miles.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there's there's so many of them that are just that are almost equivalent to one another as far as the song, the structure of the song, the lyrics. The songwriting. The songwriting is just great.
Yeah, the song was written from the same source that we got 500 Miles back in the day. It's 500 miles away from home, right? That kind of song. This is the freaking rock and roll version. But it drives the same emotions that old song did.
Now that I'd pay a couple $100 to hear. No, Michael Nolan singing that song.
500 miles.
But these are the songs I grew up on, and songs like that, they tell a tale. A man away from home, mom paws round the kettle, darning socks in the night while nobody's there. No, I had to turn it into a Beatles song. But I love those songs, a story given.
Look at that one.
Mike,
holy crap.
Mike's got the spins as saying ABBA did an Avatar show in London already.
Yep. I was just looking that up.
He thinks that's where Kiss got the idea.
No.
Yeah.
No.
They're upping the technology for the Kiss show, but and ELO, the one member is touring with a video that's been synced from the 2 dead members. This is what, but even before that, we had who's the guy that's saying "Chances are just because I wear."
Frank
what
Sinatra?
the hell? I know
Nat King Cole. Nat King Cole.
Okay.
All right, and his daughter doing duets synced up, and Paul's doing that with John, and it's like everything has to be a video game. I'm sick of it.
So
that's not what's going to get me to come and see you.
I just checked the ABBA the ABBA tickets in London, and it's £66. Which is about $87 US to see the virtual thing about ABBA. I don't know what seat that is because I didn't really go into, but it's 60. They said £66, so, which is 87 some odd dollars or whatever.
Wow.
Right.
Well, I agree with Dan Goucher. Let's see Dick Clark come back as in a on AI. You know, maybe a hologram. or something. Ed Sullivan. Johnny Carson. It's not, it probably won't be limited to bands, you know.
Yeah.
Well, what about that video Paul McCartney did where he's frozen in time and he is in a museum that's carried by a robot, and the robot comes in and he looks at McCartney and he hears a bass note, boom, and all of a sudden, you know, McCartney gets up and he's animated, right? And people say McCartney, you know, now I know he wasn't the whole enchilada for that video, but they say that, you know, his music's silly love songs. But you know what? That song, that album, you know, it shows where we're going. All right. We're reanimating the dead.
Yeah, but Lisa Marie and Elvis Presley on stage had Elvis Presley was an avatar thing, AI or whatever, and Lisa Marie was singing the song with Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
And
stage. Willie Vanilli got kicked off of their entire career for doing far less, and they should have been. And they should have been. But look what people are getting away with now. Audiences are accepting what they would never have tolerated 15 years ago, Johnny. That's sad.
I saw a real funny picture, and it was Milli Vanilli, and it had to do with AI, and the looks on their faces like, you got to be kidding me.
When I heard that, all I could think of was get a rope, you know?
Right.
And that's what we should be doing as a collective audience. We need to demand better, folks, because as long as we pay, you know, what they're asking,
right,
and we go see shows that are no longer live, or we're in a big freaking eggshell,
right,
where the band is this big for 90% of that damn audience. All right.
Right.
But it's okay. Right. What? You're gonna fly to freaking Vegas,
right?
Crawl inside an inside out TV and watch YouTube on TV?
Yeah.
Because that's what you're doing.
Right.
And you're gonna pay top dollar because that dome needs to be paid for.
But you know, people are gonna keep on continuing paying this money, and the record companies, all of them, they know this, and people are crazy enough to pay this kind of stuff, top dollar, to go see avatars on stage, not live avatars. That's craziness. It's madness.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why that happens, however, though, is there's not a whole lot of live music options out there right now. So people
sure there are. How about Rival Sons or Dirty Honey or the band Dorothy? And they don't get any airplay whatsoever. They're not playing the top shows, making $1 zillion, and they're the latest in rock. And damn it, those guys are great. All three of those bands are great. There's new blood in rock and roll.
Oh, yeah.
But no, we have to go and watch about a woman sing about and bitch about her ex-boyfriends because that's what we are. We're a bunch of simpletons.
Well, you mentioned
Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm not part of that audience. I want to make
if you have a dog, a truck, and a case of beer, you can go up on stage and make a song.
Eric Schultz. Eric Schultz is right. Imagine backing tracks at Monterey Pop. Imagine them at Woodstock.
God.
Imagine.
I don't know.
You mentioned, Michael, about Rival Sons. When I saw Black Sabbath, they opened up for Black Sabbath. And just before they got on Black Sabbath's tour, they were touring Europe with Deep Purple.
Yeah.
And because of the connection between Deep Purple and Black Sabbath, Sabbath said, okay, you guys are, if you want to keep going, come tour with us. So if you got a band that's being recruited by those two legendary bands, you're pretty damn good.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, Vance over on Zepp-Pearl, he just did a video where, you know, he went and saw Rival Sons, and I had never seen him that up close. I loved his video. So go over and see that video.
I saw some of that.
Oh, man. I love the guitarists, and you listen to their albums. I've mentioned these three bands many times on my channel. There's the New Blood, along with a fourth band, of course, and I consider Greta Van Fleet as a newish band that has something to offer. But Rival Sons, they have this real thick sound, right? But on stage, they can't replicate. So the guitarist plays through an octave box to double up his tones. Now, see, that's kind of cheating, but that's good. We knew about that kind of cheat. He's still playing the freaking notes, right? Yeah, and playing it live, and they sound thick. They sound real thick live.
Well, you get some of that with the old chorus pedals and stuff that have been around forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I've used them myself.
There's always been effects,
Right.
These
always
groups,
been
Michael,
part of
that
it.
you're talking about. First of all, I've never heard of them, and I think the reason why I've never heard of them is because the record companies or whatever advertise them. There's no advertisement for them that much.
No, because they're too busy giving LL Cool J time on stage at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is destroying rock from within, and everybody goes, "It's just a TV show, Mike." Never will I stop complaining about it. It's helping to destroy the foundation of rock and roll, along with increased ticket prices, the miming to backing tracks. Hello, Paul Stanley, you liar. And everything else, we're getting less real, and we're Alice. We've fallen down the rabbit hole.
Hey, Michael, comprehend this. I mean, you know who's richer than Paul McCartney, made it in the music industry? Jay-Z. Jay-Z's worth like $1.4 billion, and Dr. Dre's not that much, far behind him.
Oh, good for them.
Michael?
There's something going on out there that we're not that interested in. But
doesn't Jay-Z have that has a line of clothing and stuff?
Well, he has different things, but that
could add to it too, right?
Well, that can add to it. Yeah, that can. Add to it. But it was some other more music related ventures he's involved in that he bought. Yeah. Where he made the.
Yeah, well, here's the thing: if rap or hip hop or suburban nana music is superior, let the best pop music win. All right, but here's how come rap has become so popular. Look at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Look at the Billboard Awards. All right, that's bullshit. Look at the latest 100 top albums on Rolling Stone. The only album I covered since I've been on YouTube that was on that list was 72 Seasons, and I think it was number 93. The rest of these freaking albums were from, hi, welcome to the new geopolitical, this is the music you have to listen to, otherwise you're old-fashioned and you're a right-winger. Fuck you, people. You're hurting my damned art form. And fuck off for it, man. Nothing pisses me off like that than that. I've had it.
I agree, because if let's say rap, if they want their own Hall of Fame, then create one. If all these people want their own Hall of Fame, create one. But
no, I agree with that.
I always thought the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was like.
I mean, I wouldn't separate every little subgenre of rock. That should be a big tent, but rock shouldn't be with rap, shouldn't be with country, shouldn't be with classical. You know what I'm saying? It should be that's where I start drawing the line.
I'm a huge fan of Willie Nelson. He doesn't belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I'm telling you.
All right.
I'm a huge fan of Willie Nelson too. I think I mentioned last week. I was at a record store recently. It was actually Walmart, and of all the stuff they had in there, much of which I already owned, it was a double album set of Willie Nelson that I looked at my wife and said, if I was going to buy one album today, this would be it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said the only song on here that's missing is Seven Spanish Angels. I love that song. but every other song was fantastic that was on there.
He's a great
Well, Willie
songwriter,
Nelson
great
is
Yeah,
on the
he is a
level
great-
of Lennon and McCartney. He's that good of a songwriter.
Yeah, well, I did
You
a
know?
show. I did a show recently with Bob Dylan and Willie Nelson, and it was Tales from Oxnard, California, where Highway 1 used to go through downtown Oxnard, and these guys discovered a perfect little theater to put a recording studio in. And both Bob Dylan and Willie Nelson were recording there. Willie Nelson had somebody go to Ventura to pick up some high grade weed for him, and it was real strong stuff. And the guy says, the recording guy goes, "You may not want to smoke any of this until after you're done recording." And he went in there and recorded 10 or 12 songs, high as a kite, But I mean, it was a great little show. It was one of my shorter, 10-minute long things or something, pre-recorded with a live chat. But
Wow.
it was some real fun stuff in that one.
I used to enjoy watching on TV the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame awards. Now I couldn't even give it the time, but I wouldn't give it the time of day because I think it's really gone down the tubes. As far as
it totally has. Yeah.
I mean, when
everybody
you got big bands, like really, really big super bands that haven't made it to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then which I love Dolly Parton. I mean, she's a great person. I hear and everything, but to have, and I know she had a choice. She didn't want to be on it. And they said, "Oh, you have to be on." I know all that, but she could have declined anyways and said, "No." But to have her in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, come on.
And her album stinks. And I love Dolly Parton, but that damn album is a horror.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill K joined us. Thanks, Bill. And Frank James has been here for a while too. Good to see you guys. The thing, we all love Dolly Parton. There's no.
I admitted that, by the way, Bill K, in my video. I when I did criticize that he shouldn't be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I immediately followed that by saying, however, because they were also nominating Don Cornelius from Soul Train. He was Soul Train. He was Soul Train's Dick Clark, right? They were nominating him. So I said, well, at least Willie Nelson has more rock and roll in his little pinky than Don Cornelius has in his entire freaking body.
There's been a lot of people that cross over. You know what I mean?
And all these people that go, settle down, Michael. We'll just call it the popular music. You want to bet? They're never going to change the name of that. And that's why it's such a trap. Okay? They're not going to all of a sudden not call it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're not going to turn this into that's wishful thinking. So anybody who offers that up as a suggestion isn't thinking clearly, first of all. And what happens is every damn time their nomination list comes out, then the narrow it down list comes out, then the previews, then we get 4 times a year that they kind of come up into the newspaper articles and the online articles, right? And they're tearing down rock and roll as an art form. If you like rap, more power to you. If you love hip hop, more power to you. Keep it on your side of the fence. Don't come on my side because I hang trespassers.
Hey, I want to thank I want to thank Chris Elliott for asking everybody to hit the thumbs up, the like button. It actually helps the show to get recommended to people that are searching for content on YouTube. So anyway, that's an awesome thing. I appreciate when everybody does that. I also want to ask everyone if you haven't already subscribed, and I know probably all the people that are in the chat have subscribed, but I mean, there are going to be other people watching this that aren't here in the live chat tonight. Do me a favor, go to the channel, check it out. We've got close to 300 videos now, I think, spread across several different playlists. This is the flagship, the live podcast, the music live podcast. But anyway, go to the channel. If you like what you see, go ahead, do me a favor and subscribe, and hit that black bell symbol. You'll get a notification when the next show's coming on, and we would really appreciate that. We're just trying to grow the channel, it goes in fits and starts, but it is what it is.
You know,
as long as we're having fun, that's the main thing.
You know,
hey, you know what, Royce? I was going to say that would be kind of a cool thing. I don't know how you put your thoughts on what you're going to cover. Sorry, Johnny, but this goes to the comment.
Okay.
If you had your of course, you'd have to change it if an emergency happened and somebody died or there's big news you want to cover. But if you could give people like a week heads up, to kind of, here's what we're going to talk about next week, that kind of thing,
that's right. Yeah.
In 2016, and this is why I love Alan Jackson. In 2016 on the CMA Awards, he walked out of a performance that was by Beyonce. And he just walked out apparently, but they didn't show that on camera.
Gotcha.
And he was totally against this, and he also walked out on CMA. I don't know what this is with these award places, and he walked
I don't
out
either. It doesn't make. I've never even seen her in a cowboy hat.
He apparently on another one he was supposed to he was scheduled to perform on stage and play some songs. And so was George Jones, but they told George Jones that he wasn't going to play. They didn't want him to sing the whole song or to that effect or whatever. And Alan Jackson, being true to himself and to his fans, and to George Jones, which he was a big fan of, he decided to. Alan Jackson couldn't back out of the deal, so he went on stage. Oh, they also wanted the band to fake playing the drumming, the drummer playing the drums and all this, right? So what Alan Jackson did was, first of all, I don't know whether it's the same award show, but I read a few of them, and the one where he ended up playing at the end, he ended up stopping his song and played a George Jones complete song on stage.
Wow.
And the other thing was the drumming. The playing of the instruments. Somebody that around Alan Jackson's entourage took a video, and they clipped it. You can see it on YouTube. You can see the drummer faking playing the drums with no sticks, right? And the funny. CMA, I think he had sticks, but he couldn't be no stick. But the thing is that's how bad even the country music awards have become. And George Jones or Alan Jackson is so true to his fan base and the country music that he wouldn't have nothing to do with it. Now and so they ended up banning them from the CMA Awards a few times because of this stuff, right?
Well, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is known for mistreating the people that they are inducting. They mistreated Kiss, all right. They mistreated Steve Miller, all right. And thank God he came out and just laid them to waste. All right. They give everybody just so many tickets. Not every band member gets tickets. And certainly if they're there to perform, but no tickets for wives or anything. And they run the place like it's 1938 Berlin.
What the hell's going on with these award shows?
To me,
I don't know.
To me, talk about that. To me, there, in rock and roll, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has done more harm than good. And I'm not talking about, well, relax, Michael. Rock and roll has seen its heyday. I don't mind that. Everything sees its heyday. But I'm talking about preserving the integrity of an art form that came along that was just as important as anything created in the 18th and 17th, 16th, 15th centuries.
Exactly.
All those artists that we're talking about to this day, hundreds of years later, we had something special. And LL Cool J wasn't there. And he had nothing to do with it. And he needs to be... I got to keep my mouth shut, man. I can't get it across to certain people. These shows are fucking dangerous. They're hurting. And it's starting to, through their influences, it's starting to show up in the live concerts.
Yeah,
but not in Alice Cooper's concerts. Brother, that man's got a band.
No. Yeah, and I just want to say one more time. First of all, thank you, Michael. I really appreciate this. This is a fantastic album. Everybody needs to get it, and everybody needs to see Alice Cooper the next chance they get to see Alice Cooper. What a fun show. We've already gone over tonight, guys. I appreciate everybody for being here. And thank you all so much.
Back on the radio, guys. I'm dying over here.
And
nice to see you, Dad.
We're gonna sign off. And everybody, please come back next week and bring a friend.
Johnny, I am your father.
And that's what's happening in Royce's world today. And thank you all so much. Good night.
Thanks for putting up with us, folks.
Yeah,
or me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, guys.